Welcome back to the Human Values Podcast. This is episode 11. My name is Javier Payano. I'm a music teacher, character education coach, and someone who cares deeply about the well being of children. So much so that we started our own nonprofit organization to teach kids all about universal human values like love, truth, peace, nonviolence, and right action. But more on that later. Right now, I would love to introduce the one, the only, our rock star mom in the Human Values Collective community, Angela Eusis. Angela, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so well. I'm so excited to be here for episode 11, especially. You know, I love my double numbers, and I too am extremely passionate about the hearts and the well-being of our children, of all
Yes,
children. Yeah.
yes. I like to tell kind of the story that growing up and living part time in the US and part time in Dominican Republic and kind of being blessed by experiencing two cultures, but also kind of feeling this in between and like, where do I belong kind of thing. So I feel like that, and then my experiences in high school and college just really make me sensitive to where students and children are emotionally, and I just like want desperately for them to feel, number one, a sense of belonging, and number two, how absolutely valuable they are. And I know as a parent, that's exactly what you want. For your kids, and as a former teacher, you tried really hard to give all of that love to your students. So we're in good company. I think there's a reason we became really good friends pretty
Yes.
quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. So,
Thank you.
uh, yeah, just to say a little bit, tonight's episode is especially for parents who want to hold space for their children. There are a lot of negative influences out there. Technology is really taking over. It's hard to get students off of their phones, hard to get our children off of their phones. It almost feels like they're in danger of becoming more robotic, and we're over here wanting to keep them human and bring the humanity out. But one of the tenets of education and human values is to be the example. So if we want our children to embody that, to be alive, to celebrate life and living, we have to do that, and we have to be the example. And Angela, I think you're such a great example of that. So before we get into the nitty gritty of this episode, hearts, 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 let's do a little bit of grounding exercise. I love doing this, and I promise we'll do another exercise at some point, but I just love, first of all, the heart high five, such a beautiful practice, easy practice to implement. And then also, we got to do the same thing over and over again if we want to master it. So hopefully, the repetition is a good thing. So all we're going to do is take our hand on our heart space, and we can either tap or caress in little circles, or even just leave your hand still on your heart space. And at this time, we can say something useful to our brain and body, like, all is well, I am safe, I am amazing, I can do anything. And let's just enjoy this feeling. Let's enjoy this moment of heart high five for 30 seconds starting now. And take a deep breath in and out. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, stretch out your arms and legs, stretch in any way that feels good. So grateful to be together again. I'm laughing on the inside because in the last episode, Lisa Fernando was like, that was a really quick 30 seconds, because on a podcast, 30 seconds of silence feels way longer than in the classroom when I'm doing this with my students, right? But how do you feel about after that heart high five?
So good. So good. It felt. I actually, because you have shared it so often, I find my friends when they're like, I just don't know. I'm like, put your hand on your heart. Just rub your heart. Take a few deep breaths. Tap it. Love it. Whatever you need to do. So it's such an easy, accessible one, and it's great.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
One of those quick things that as I was practicing with my students today, I said, we're doing it right now while we're regulated, while we're relatively calm, so that we know what to do when the moment arises, when we're upset, when we're triggered, whatever it is. Because, as we've said before on the show, when your child is triggered, that's not the moment to introduce the mindfulness technique, right? So, okay, we want to practice when we're regulated with our kids. So, okay,
Absolutely.
got a lot of questions for you, Anj. Don't worry about the dog. We love the dogs. It's all good. Okay, we got right in generalhumanvaluescollective.org if you love the dogs, so that we know we're all good. We love it. It's fine. What's the dog's name?
Baxter. He
Baxter.
heard
We
someone
love.
knocking, and I'm like, right now you're gonna start barking. It's 9:30, buddy.
I love how we talked for 20 minutes before the podcast. I didn't hear him at all. As soon as we start recording, 5 minutes in, he's barking so good. He wants to be part of the show.
I'm here.
Okay. So, I guess kind of let's start at the beginning here.
Let's do it.
You and I met in Portugal. We were at a retreat. We had a really awesome chance meeting, and we've been friends ever since. We were following each other online, and you started to hear me talk about human values, education, and human values. Kind of, what was your first reaction, if you can remember back, like the first time you started hearing me talk about that stuff? What was your first reaction to that?
I was like, tell me more.
Hmm. Yes.
It was on the field in Portugal, and I feel it's important to say it was a retreat on frequency, right? So we're talking about energy and like love and celebrating life and values, and there's like a and you were talking with the heart high five of like coming into co-regulation and having these tools. Well, we met when we were both very grounded and hearts open. In retreats, it tends to be this excitement of meeting new people. There's whatever the theme is has like brought us together. And in your introduction of who you were, you told me about human values. And I really was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, tell me more. How beautiful. So over the course of the time that you were explaining it and sharing, I was excited about it because I'm like, let me learn all the things. I want all the things, and I want to feel. I'm a feeler. I've grown up with a lot of love. So this theme of celebrating life, but values, like it caught me because you think, oh yes, we have to explicitly teach that. I remember reading a book on racism when the kids were young, and it's like, don't think that your kids just get it. You have to explicitly tell them what your beliefs are. You have to explicitly show them through your actions what those beliefs are. But there's none of this like, they get it, they know. And so
Mm,
you mentioned values. I was like, oh yeah. Like our kids see us being good people and doing nice things for others, but like we need to talk about it
yes.
regularly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like, some families, they don't really say I love you back and forth to each other. It's like, well, I love you. Like, I put a roof over your head, I put food on your plate. And I think that as we're learning what makes a healthy family, what makes healthy relationships, is like, yeah, just like the mental health challenges are so pervasive. Like, no, we need you to say it out loud. And
All the time.
so there's an expectation that our kids are just going to soak up our values. But, number one, life is so busy. And, every parent out there, they're doing their best. But, you're really trying to get the kid to school, get them fed, get them bathed, get them in bed. And if we don't have a consistent practice, it's not a guarantee that the children are going to absorb the values that we hold dear in our heart. And again, with the technology and other negative influences, like, it's just like that's so pervasive. And we can be very surprised as parents when the kids, 13, 14, 15 years old, and then they start exhibiting behavior, and you're like, wait a minute, those aren't our values. Where did they get that from? So to have a system that's like, no, these are our family values, and to have that as a consistent thing is, then they're gonna get it, right? Spell it out for them, I think, is what I'm hearing you say, right?
Well, and when you told me the human values and when it was like, we send you this great little box and it tells you, and you get an email every week, I'm like, sign me up. Like, I don't have to do the work to figure out the values in the conversation and you're going to give that to me. Like, yes, please, because there is so much going on, but it is really important for me, I should say, it has been such a gift to have it literally show up weekly in my mailbox,
Yes.
pretty bug
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, making it as easy as possible for
Yes.
you. That's the
Yeah.
whole point of the Human Values Collective. We want to make this accessible and easy.
Yeah.
So you're learning about human values. You're like resonating with it. Like this is really cool. What was the idea then? Because I think when I met you, we were very focused on teachers only at that time. So what was your desire? What was that moment that you said, I want to share this with my family? How did that start?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was again when I met you and you explained it. I always want to share with my kids. I am a talker, I am a learner, like I want to bring things, and my challenge is actually the busyness of our lives, because the busyness is often things that don't really aren't as important to me, right? Like my kids love sports and I love that they love them, but sports calls so much attention and so much time, and I'm like, it's not that important. Like the values, we have to have these conversations, you know? And so I think that I lost my train of thought on your question, but like I was a teacher, so I had my classroom, and then realizing like my classroom, my students now are my kids, and I want to give them everything, you know.
Mhm. Yes.
And I think that I grew up with a lot of traditions and a lot of conversations, very much an I love you family, very much like talking about God's present family. And so we would have conversations. And the challenge for me with all the sports was like we weren't having dinner. We weren't having the time that was so valuable to me. So being able to have again a tool given to me to use to bring and say, hey, let's try this. Because another thing, like you're a parent, your kids are like, I roll, I don't want to listen to you and your thing, but like someone else made it. He's a really cool guy, helps.
Okay, so keep being cool is what I'm hearing. You need
Yeah.
me to keep being cool, so make this legitimate. Well, so you mentioned family dinner. I also knew you did like a family meeting kind of. So what was like the first thing you tried of like, hey guys, I want to sit down and on Sunday and was there any skepticism from your family when you kind of introduced
Absolutely. All
this?
of them. Yeah, I mean, you know my story. You and I have been in a meditation group together. We had our own practices before I learned about human values already. Um, and I will say I was all on board. And very early on, yes, there was skepticism from everyone because it seems like another thing to do. I knew right away like the value of having these value conversations. Um, but where do you fit it in, and how do you like, and no one, something new everyone's resistant to. So, and that is hard because I'm very sensitive. Like I'm very empathetic and sensitive, so I could feel everyone not liking it. I'm like, it's so good, like I want you to love it. And so you work through your own things, but there was skepticism. I think that my husband was trying to be open to it. That was really hard because there was no consistency, right? When the two of us were not on the same page, that we didn't have the consistency for it, and I found that to be very frustrating. Um, my dad used to always say growing up, like, you have an hour to give God. And so I was kind of like, we have an hour to do these values. So it was messy at the beginning. And I will say for all of you parents, like, we've been doing this for a couple of years now, maybe a few, coming on a few. And it's not perfect. Like, it's Memorial Day weekend. We haven't done our Sunday dinner yet. So it's not about perfect, but I will say that I stayed true to really wanting to bring this to the family. My husband went through a big transformation last year where he became more open, and I didn't realize the importance of us being on the same page and committing to it together, seeing the value as a couple to share the values with our children was a huge stepping stone in the right direction. And then, as I've told you, we used to be like, yeah, let's just do it. I got the email a couple days ago, let's do it. And I was like, no. Just like churches at 9:30 on Sundays or whenever people go, like human value meeting, dinner, it's Sunday night. End of story, period. And that skepticism continued. No one, people, oh, we have to do it again. Like, oh, then they were like, you guys are getting serious. Like, we're doing this every week. So then it was this buildup of, and then we played around with, I remember one time, not all kids are talkers. So one day I was like, pulled my teacher hat and I'm like, here's the value. Here's a piece of paper, colors, crayons, like express. Oh, that was like fun, something new. And then talk about it rather than just sit there and it come. So, I mean, they're teenagers. Like, there's probably still some skepticism. Like, we have to do this thing, and yet it is single handedly the most beneficial, positive change that we've had in our family. And I'm beyond grateful.
What are some of those positive changes that you've seen?
Um, there's so many. I think so I have three kids, 9, 13, 15. The 15-year-old's a girl, then two boys. 15-year-old loves it. I mean, she like pulls her teacher hat on just because she's the oldest, and she's like, "Who can name the 5 universal value?" She wants to be teacher, so she starts the meeting. She wants to read it, all the things. Um, so kind of helping her see, let the boys have a chance to talk.
Mm,
We have been able to see with certain words that come up in values like accountability. You ask the 9-year-old, and he's like, I don't know what that is, which again, you don't know. You just assume. We assume so much. Our 13-year-old is not a big talker. So having the question saying, have you lived this? Do you have an example? Hearing stories of things that he does at school that we would otherwise never hear.
mhm,
Such a gift.
mhm,
And then really I think that as time has gone on, it's realizing like we chose to be a family for a reason. And siblings tend to fight a lot. But like at the end of the day, years to come, you guys are going to be there for each other. And it has started with this basis. You know,
mm,
there's an opportunity to help them see things and learn about connecting through our family unit, realizing this
mhm,
family unit is valuable and it's important. And also, I mean, yeah, there's just every week is something else. Every week is, I will say, even like it's been beautiful because our conversations then allow my husband and I to allow our husband, I have a kid behind asking for something, not right now. I have the ability then after our family conversations to sit with my husband and like debrief and
mm,
talk deeper about our roles as parents. What
mm,
we saw in our children were two different people, my husband and I. So then I get perspective from him on something that I didn't see, or I get to say something to him that maybe would be helpful next time with this. It's so beautiful.
allowing you space to be more reflective and therefore intentional about your parenting and kind of bu- build your strength as a unit as mom and dad together, it sounds like. And then with the kids, what I heard there in that share is you're helping them build a foundation for each other where even though they may argue and they may fight, they're growing up with this idea that they're there to watch out for each other and take care of each other, which I think is really beautiful and is not the case with all siblings.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of what I'm hearing here is this practice of human values building stronger relationships between members of the family. And it might seem like, oh, why are we doing this? Do we have to do this again? It might seem like an unnecessary thing. But then when things come up, when life issues come up, when crises come up, the foundation is already there. The channel is open for communication,
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing is there's a lot of parents out there who may not be very much talkers like you, and or maybe one parent is and the other one isn't. So it's like, oh, this is mom's thing, but dad doesn't care about it. So okay, we don't have to do it, or we don't have to take it seriously. So to have that united front between the parents, makes it something that's like, oh, we better kind of take this seriously, or oh man, it's here we are. It's Sunday again, and as you've mentioned to me before, like if they have something come up on Sunday, they better reschedule, and they,
Yeah.
we're gonna fit in the value of the week at some point, right? So it's starting to take ownership of that, and like this is what we do as a family. Especially a lot of families don't go to church anymore, right? So this might be the place where they are practicing those moral moral lessons, right?
Yes.
So setting that foundation for the family in many ways.
Yeah, and I want to add, yes, we're helping our kids build sibling relations, and also
Yes.
we're helping them build relations with us, which I think is really important, and really it can be very easy, especially as a parent, to be like, they have their phone. I don't need, like, they're, I don't know, to disconnect and to not realize. But I think it's also important to be able to point out, yes, parents, oftentimes home is safe, right? So you'll have, we're blessed that so often people are like, oh, your kids are so amazing and they're so sweet and polite outside of the home. And of course, at home, we're like, where's that kid? Home is safe. And that's not fully true. They are sweet and loving, and they're really amazing human beings. And I will say, oftentimes after these meetings too, Jeff and I are like, amazing kids. Like, we really slowing down to do these values and to have this set time
Mm-hmm.
allows you to see each other, all of us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my husband went through a cancer journey last year. He became much more open and vulnerable about things as he was going through it. And it's a gift for our kids to see that. There have been conversations that have come up where we're a very open family. So we have shared maybe challenges that Jeff and I've had in our marriage, or, things that we've worked through and are proud of. And we're also showing them, you know, it's all the relationships, child parent, what parent relationship can look like, what sibling relationship can look like. It's just the merging of family, in all the facets.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention preparing them for their friendships, their romantic relationships, their work relationships in the future.
Yeah.
To be able to have someone, especially young man, who has the emotional intelligence, who has this vocabulary, who's able to express themselves, it's, I think, super, super valuable.
Yeah.
I think that I get that reaction a lot from people of just like, oh, you're so kind and you're so loving and all of these things, and I'm kind of like, yeah, isn't that normal? Isn't that what we all want? But you spend a little bit of time and you realize, especially in the workplace, it's not normal. And I try to be compassionate and understanding. People are struggling. People are having a hard time. People were promised, like, if you work hard, you're gonna have success. That's not necessarily true right now. And then if we don't know what to do with those emotions, we often take it out on the people closest to us, which is our family members. And so it takes, as a parent, as an adult, it takes a lot of wherewithal, a lot of awareness, and a lot of practice, to be able to, yeah, to model what do we do with those big emotions. And I think that you guys are doing a great job at modeling that in your, and you've done like the Sunday dinner,
Mhm.
right? That's kind of like the practice that we co-created based on what you were doing, which is, congratulate you for. And we've since invited so many parents through our program, which is incredible. But it was a Sunday dinner, and then you kind of pivoted more towards doing, of like a Sunday family meeting before dinner. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. Sometimes I mean, again, we're flexible with it. It's been great to say it's Sunday evening.
Yes.
So sometimes if someone has a plan that we're working around, it's just the family meeting. Sometimes it's the family meeting over dinner. Sometimes it's the family meeting after dinner. And we're like, oh, yeah, we made it work from 8:30 to 9:30. Not our best. So
Hmm.
it's always learning. We're always like taking, the experience and pivoting. But I would say that we have found, it works better for us that we do the meeting separate, and then we kind of have dinner after with,
Okay.
yeah.
Great. So, can you take us just a little bit through the journey of like what a family meeting looks like? You get your email
Yeah.
every week
Yes.
with the value of the week, and I think one of the kids reads it out, right? So, can you just take us through like how do you set that up and how does it actually look?
Yeah. So again, try to rotate. Our daughter's always willing to read it all, but we're like, oh, middle kid, younger, do you want to read it? And then my daughter always asks what the five universal values are first. We make sure we all have those. And then we go through the email. And sometimes Jeff or I will be like, oh, this makes me think of this. But also, it's nice to keep your mouth shut and like, does anyone have something that they want to say to this? Everyone speaks, everyone has some kind of share. I will say, because of our children's ages, two teenagers and the younger, right now, the younger oftentimes becomes more of an observer just because there's more things going on with the older two. They have more sharing to do, which I think is also beautiful. Like he's learning a lot through observation of two people he loves, you know? So, but we really, everyone gets to talk. And we have even done, I'll share this, I think was powerful. We were in the middle of a meeting and everyone, we're pulling them away from their friends and everyone's coming with an attitude. And very calmly, we were like, look, we love how much fun you have with your friends and how you show up with them. And we expect the same. So we're just going to stop the meeting because it's not vibing right now. We'll just redo it.
Mm,
That was a really powerful one because as parents, I said, like, I want everyone to love it. If they're going to show up with attitude and not give us their best when it's an expectation of our family, cool, we'll just try again. Like, we're not going to sit here and pull and like make it this painful. So that was a really powerful moment.
mm,
They were like, we have to do it again. And we were like, yeah, when we're all, it's just not working right now. It's cool. We're not
mhm,
mad. We're going to walk away. That's
mhm,
a good life skill as well. Um,
mhm.
but
Circle back.
we try to keep it to an hour, and they know that that's the time frame. At the beginning, they were like, okay, 4 more minutes. Are you going to be done? Now, not so much. Um, and then I'll even say we play with it. Like right now, with a value recently, I'm trying to remember what it was, but my husband had this idea, of like taking care of others, giving back. So he's like, let's watch this movie. We'll do that as our human value time, and then like weave in, so we get flexy with it.
Mm,
Not so much we really like to do the talking, but we were like, oh, there's so many good movies that we could try to engage them in this way. I told you about the drawing, like don't be so rigid with it. Know your kids, know when it's time to like switch it up a little bit, try something
mhm.
new, and then you can always go back to the basics. But really, it's read the value. Everyone gets a chance to talk. Sometimes we start when we know there's heated things happening in the family. We're like, does anyone have anything they want to say or bring up? As this is our time to figure out how we want our family to feel.
I get the sense that you are setting up your family, your children specifically, for so much success in the future because half of the battle is just being able to express what you're feeling. And so to show them that awareness like that and that compassion, not letting them off the hook, like, oh, that means we're just going to skip it this week. Like, no, we're coming back to it. There's the compassion and the accountability at the same time, which I think is super valuable. But then, yeah, making it, I think a lot of this work is making it safe for the children to be able to express themselves. And sometimes, like maybe with your 9 year old, it's like they don't even know how to express themselves yet. So I know a lot of this is like naming the feelings. It's like, is this, is this how you're feeling? I understand how you're feeling. And that allows them to be able to be more open. It's going to help them in all of their relationships.
Yeah.
And I think the kind of like questions coming up for me right now is this thing of like the consent, because obviously, like if you ask, do you guys want to do human values? They're going to say no, but how do you as a parent balance like the consent and wanting them to have some buy-in, but also knowing like this is good for you. I really want us to do this, right? It's like brushing your teeth and eating your vegetables is not an option, right? So, do you have any kind of thoughts of that? Of like how, well, like what's the consent versus as a parent? I think this is super valuable for your life when we should do it.
I like to tell our kids, I believe that we choose our families. So in those moments, I'm like, oh, I don't know. You chose us to be your parents. So you
Ooh.
must have like know, I think I used to say that when they were more young, but
Mm-hmm.
younger. But I do think that I'm like, look, it's our job to help you be good humans, and this is how we know to do that. And so that's what we're doing, and we're very, very flexible with our children. They are very autonomous beings. They are great independent. They know what they want to do. And it's like, but a community, a family, any kind of organization, like we all want to belong and you have to do something.
Mm,
You can belong just for being, but you have to give your part.
mhm,
Even last week we were touching base on, hey, summer's coming up. You got to have 7 extra hours. Like, what is that going to look like for our family? We're just going to play around. So it's really about, it's not, we're not mad about it. We're not mean about it. It's just like, we love you. We do these things that sometimes we don't want to do. We had to do them as kids too. There are things you have to do that you don't want to do, and yet they will help shape you into being a good human.
mhm.
That's our job. And we love
Mhm.
you. And that's why we do these things. So that's usually the approach.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Very helpful for me. I don't have kids yet, but I'm in training, so that's very helpful for me, and I'm sure for lots of parents listening. Uh, we're gonna go into the thought of the week for a second here in a second, but I think the last thing is if there's a parent, they're listening, they're just learning about education and human values, they may be having some challenges at home with the child. Maybe the child's having trouble in school. They're asking them, how was your day? They get one word answers. There's not a lot of open communication. What would you say to that parent if they're kind of on the fence of like maybe they want to try education and human values with their child, but it feels intimidating or they're not sure if it's the right thing for them?
Mm. What's coming to me, I just read this book called Talk to Your Boys, and it said if you had to create a meme for the teenage boy, it would be a door slamming shut. Uh, That's actually not a problem. The problem is that when we as parents stop trying to open that door.
Ooh.
So, don't give up on them. I mean, I have a beautiful relationship with each of my children. One has been more challenging than the others. So I just keep reading more. I just keep showing up more. I just keep trying and I apologize. Like I am not above. I think that there's a difference with how we were raised versus how I think some parents are more conscious parents are choosing to be. And it's like, I really, in line with the value of this week, but in line with values, like we come to this earth whole and complete. I believe that.
Mm,
Our children, if we allow them to, can be great teachers to us.
mhm,
And like you said, with the consent, also like safety, they don't need us to know everything. They just need to know that we're safe, that we
mm,
love them, that we're a place to come to.
mm,
And so I think that if we stop trying, is where the problem lies. And I have said dozens of times to my son, I'll go in sometimes crying, like, I'm sorry. I wish that I hadn't done that, said that, reacted, right? I'm going to try again. I'm going to like,
mm.
it's just, it's human connection.
Yes.
And I think the real problem lies when parents feel like they have to show that they know it all, or like our kids are beautiful people.
Mm,
They're humans just like we are.
mhm.
And just keep trying to open that door. However, tell them you're scared. Be like, I heard this thing and it seems like I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't, but it sounds cool. And like, I just want to try it. Will you try it with me? Can we try it for a month?
Mm.
Can we just like help me figure out how we do it? Um, just try, keep trying.
Keep trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately and it's so completely natural, especially when they turn 12, 13. They're gonna pull away. They're wanting to assert their independence. They're wanting to go and hang out with their friends and do their own thing, but they don't stop needing you.
Yeah.
And I think I don't want parents to wait until the kid starts pulling away. It's
Mhm.
like too late. It's like too. It's okay. It's not too late,
No,
but
it's never too late, but it makes it harder. And I will say it's actually the meeting's the foundation. And so many, I told you, my husband and I have conversations after. We often solo have conversations with the 9-year olds. What do you think? What was, he's very expressive. He just also is a really beautiful soul at holding space. And he
Mhm.
understands that his siblings are in school, they're managing liking the opposite sex and having friends with doing trying all new things, and he's just not there, you know?
Mhm.
But you
Mhm.
can ask him later and he's very expressive of like what he's observing, what he thinks. So it's really not, it's not just an hour, but shh.
You sprinkle it in here and there. That and that's kind of the thing is we're setting aside. And by the way, don't start with an hour. Start smaller. but we're setting aside this intentional time that's Sunday night or whatever works for you because it's meant to be flexible and adaptable. But eventually, it starts to become part of who we are as people. And the cards that we're creating right now, the conversation cards, you can print them, you can put them on the fridge, and then we kind of want this to be just how we live, and it starts to be sprinkled into our lives. Right? You've had moments of like, it's like, hey guys, remember accountability. Like it just comes out, kind of naturally throughout the week outside of those specific intentional meetings. So it starts to become a part of who we are. And what I always say, as you said, the kids, they come to the earth full and whole and complete. All the children, they all have these universal human values within them. And the real goal as the teacher or as the parent, who's the first teacher, is to model that so that the kids can feel safe bringing out their kindness, bringing out their accountability, bringing out their compassion, and bringing out their love. So definitely felt your love in this conversation tonight, Queen. I appreciate you so much
Mm.
being on here and sharing vulnerably. And I think everyone watching and listening can feel your passion, not just for your kids, but for other families out there that have the potential to bring human values into their homes and just set a foundation and open a channel for communication that hopefully will stay there even through the rough and tumble teenage years. And then the kids always come back when it's time for college and want to be close. And who doesn't want to be pursued, who doesn't want to be loved, who doesn't want to be wanted. Even sometimes we're like, slam the door shut. It's like, no, I don't want to talk to you, but secretly they want you to knock on the door. and,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Like, get away from me. And they're trying to hide their smile or,
Yeah, 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 yeah. The kids always want love, and I think a big takeaway is just like whatever is going on, and we can spend time dissecting what's happening with my kid. We also can just assume they just want more love. They're not feeling loved, so find out what is their love language and love the heck out of them in an
Mhm.
intentional way, in an out loud way, in a
Yes.
way that's perfectly clear and they won't be able to confuse it or misinterpret it.
Yeah.
This is love. Does that sound right?
It sounds right. And it also like doing a gift of sharing the values, even if like you're saying, start small, it's a 5-minute conversation, then be like, wow, when I heard the story of what my kid did at school, I'm like, that's amazing. Like, I'm so proud to know that's how you show up in the world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you just,
Yes.
you see the heart, you feel the body language changes, you know?
Yes.
I think as parents, I will speak for myself, worried, like, you don't separate yourself at the beginning from your child. And you're like, if they're being a jerk out in the world, like people think I'm a not,
Mm-hmm.
hard to separate. It's like, nope, they're their own person.
Yes.
Don't just focus on the hard negative stuff. Like build them up. Like you are their
Yes.
biggest cheerleader. Share with them,
Yes.
tell them, the little things that you see. Also, it's like for every one negative thing, you got to say 10 positive things. And we forget that part, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Give them a reputation to live up to.
Yeah.
Yeah. See in them who they are before they can see it for themselves.
And share it. Tell
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You better tell them.
You
You,
better tell
you
them every day, all the time.
you better tell them 24/7
Yeah. Well,
because
it's
we
fun
all.
too. Like we have started, I am resistant to technology in a lot of ways, but now we have a family chat and I'm like, anyone practicing? What do you think about this? And I have to say, because it's coming like 2.5, 3 years that we've been doing this, the way that the synchronicity of what the
Mhm.
value is and what is happening in your life is like chef's kiss. It's just so beautiful how I'm like, I'm working on writing and I'm like focused on a bubble of miracles. And this week it's celebrate life and we're all connected. I'm like, I know. And it happens so often, And it
Yes.
again, going back to the energy, it's like we're creating it. Then if all of us are thinking about it and we're putting this same juju, the same magic into the air, and it's growing stronger, and
Mhm.
the ripple will be wider. But I really will say that the human values organization and the way that you create the resources for us has been the biggest gift to me. It has helped me individually as a woman, mother, but also my husband and I's relationship, our partnership, our family. It is single-handedly, I tell everyone that I can, this is it's so easy, guys. Like, just literally sign up, get an email. You can even get it for a month or 2 and be like, "How would I share this?" Like, feel it out,
Mm,
There's no perfect, it's a work in progress, but, like, make it happen,
mhm.
I promise that if you're consistent with it and you use what comes so beautifully packaged to you, there's a song sometimes, there's a practice, like, you get all sorts of ways to share what this value is. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
That,
And
that's
and
so
there's
good.
support. There's support, I will say that it's been beautiful to have you and a couple of the other men in the organization help me as a mom see things with my boys, that, like, it's just so we're not doing it alone. There's resources here. I will talk to anyone who wants help trying to figure out how to implement it in a family. Like, I'm happy to walk through. That's really what it's about too. It goes to, like, our kids come in with these values. We have these values. We want to be connected. We want to love each other. We want to support each other. So I'm here to help however I can, but I am eternally grateful
Mm,
for the Human Values Collective, for you being so persistent in continuing to share, to believe in these values, to bring us back to slowing down
yes.
enough to just connect heart to heart.
Yes, it's so valuable. Thank you, Queen, for being a champion of a work and a model. Like the Eustace family, you guys are the model family for us. So we're so grateful that you get to share your story and your perspective. And I know a lot of people are going to get a lot from your words. I appreciate you sharing so much. And yeah, it's all about the connection. At the end of the day, that's all we want is human connection. And we weren't taught how to do that, but now the resources here,
Yeah,
and now we can help each other to continue that work. So
absolutely.
I'm feeling so full. Speaking of the value of the week, let's go through the value of the week before we sign off, and then I think I'm already manifesting you coming back onto the podcast at another time to share even more. So
Happily, happily.
good. So yeah, let me share the value of the week, the way I do it in my classroom, and the way that you can do it at your Sunday night dinner or your family meeting. So this week, through the lens of nonviolence, we invite you to practice the value celebration of life. And the thought of the week is we are part of each other. This is the point where if the kids are available for it and you could just pivot to them and ask them, what do you think that means? Sometimes for me as a high school teacher, I need to get the ball rolling a little bit. So if you feel a sense that kids aren't responding to that immediately right away, then you can get the ball rolling by saying a little bit first. So what I shared with my students today was, you know how either a friend of the family or uncle or grandma haven't seen you in a while, and then they say, oh my god, you've grown so much, you're so big, right? They don't see your incremental growth, they see a big shift, a big change. And what I was sharing with my students today is, we also have these little incremental shifts in our personality. We think our personality is fixed. This is who I am and I never change. And maybe some people are a little slower to change. But I think for the most part, we really have a lot of growth that we do and a lot of change we do in a year or 4 years as my seniors are getting ready to graduate. And I think one of the biggest things that causes that transformation and that change is the people who are around us. So really to pay attention, this is why they say choose your friends wisely, right? Because they rub off on you. What characteristics do these people have? What characteristics do I want? Okay, surround yourself with those kinds of people. So we are a part of each other in a very real sense, right? And And that's the way that we can celebrate life. I know on the last week's episode I talked about my brother, and there are so many qualities that are so alive in me that were things that I learned from him. And
Mhm.
so in that way, he's going to live on forever. He's going to live on through me and then through my children and my children's children. And that's just for me a beautiful way that I'm celebrating life. And Angela, I know that you also received something from this week. It was very alive for you. Do you want to share a little bit about like what came up for you when you read this value of the week and thought of the week?
Oh, I mean, I got emotional because I just we are a part of each other, you know?
Mm,
And I think it's really there's so much I want to say. What was coming to me as I was listening to you to share, which is different than what I shared earlier, but you know, when we're a part of each other, something that I say often to my kids is like words are either a hug or a sword. And we know when we're delivering them, like I know this is going to make you feel so good, and that does something to you because
mm,
it feels good. And then there's times where we're in a bad mood or something and we're like, you know, and we dish out the sword. And it's just knowing it because there's a book we used to read to our kids, like How Full Is Your Bucket? And it talks all about how like we all have a bucket. And if I say something nice to Javier, I see a drop go in his bucket, but like a drop also goes in my bucket. Like what? You
mm,
know? And we can be drop fillers or drop pourers, and it a lot of it is on like how we're feeling, but then that shows us how connected we are, you know?
mm,
Like if we're mad and then we tear someone else down, like really at the end we're like, oh, it doesn't feel good, you know? Um, I don't know. I mean, I love celebrating life. I grew up very celebration oriented, I guess you would say. Like there was a lot of love and a lot of traditions that allowed us to celebrate big things and little things. And I think it can be really easy, again, when we focus on the negative or the hard, it can be really easy to forget to celebrate life, to forget that, you know, even if you see someone across and smile at them, or it can make a whole huge difference in their day, their week. We don't know what's going on with each other, but like if we remember that the way that we are, even our actions are like hugs or swords, you know, you can be like, or you can smile. Um, it ripples in one way or the other, you know. I got so excited. I even wore like flowery celebrate life. I'm like, got my flower sweater for tonight, and just you know it can be easy to trudge through, but it's
mm.
good to be alive, and
Yes,
there's so much to celebrate if we choose to focus on celebrating.
yes, yes. And you said the words "slow down" multiple times tonight, and I really landed that. You know, me Capricorn projector, and all that stuff. It's like go go go. Um, but when I got overwhelmed today at school. There was just like so many things I needed to do, and it's like, oh my god, how am I going to do all this? And then I kind of just paused. I'm like, no, slow down. You don't need to rush to do anything right now. And I just like took a breath, and I felt like I entered the celebration of life vibe. I was like, dude, I am alive. I'm having such a great time with my students. You know, there's in seventh period I share the podcast is already running long, but we're having such a great time. Last story from me, I promise. A student come. I'm in a room. I share with another teacher. He has a student I had last year. The student comes over to sit down with me, and I already know the student is long winded. I already know he's going to talk to me for the rest of the period, and I'm like, oh, come on, man, I need to get some work done. And in my mind, I thought about Mr. Rogers, and I was like, this kid is graduating in a week. This, you know, what could be more important than listening to this child right now? What could be more loving than just sitting here and just, you know, sipping on my coffee and absolutely receiving whatever this kid needs to tell me with so much love? And then that just changed my whole day. And I feel like that was a moment of celebrating life, celebrating my relationship with this kid. He's amazing. And, you know, who knows when the next time I'm going to see him, you know, maybe never. And so I really heard that message from you, Angela, today of like, let's slow down as teachers, as parents. When we slow down, we have time to make those human connections. And when we think back, you know, 30, 40 years from now, what are going to be the things that we remember? Those times that we had as a family, those times we had with our students, those times we had to connect as human beings. So here's
Absolutely.
your cue to slow down, I think, for more
Yeah, and
connection.
you just made me think of my dad. My dad's 92 and, three kids, sports, constant whatever. But I am with that man and he moves slow. So it automatically, but the way that he celebrates life, you know, truly, like he has macular degeneration, he can barely hear. How you doing, Dad? I'm great. How are you? And then he kind of walked into this bush we were walking and I'm like, "Oh, a little brush of nature." And he goes, "It's wonderful." And it makes me slow down and be like, he's real.
Mm,
He's really experiencing all of the small and beautiful moments in life.
mm,
Grateful that he's 92 and alive and so it goes to show you too that if you are aligned in your values, if you live your values, yes, it is always hard for me to slow down with my dad, and I will do it every time because
mm.
I know that at the end of the day, when I look back, I'm going to be like, what am I going to think? Like, oh, I'm glad I got to that grocery store. Or am I going to be glad that I had 30 more minutes to hear gratitude oozing out of a man that is,
Yes,
precious to me? So,
yes. He's he's a miracle minded guy.
oh my God,
Everything is a
such a
miracle.
miracle minded guy. Yeah, he
Yeah.
really is.
Oh man, I hope I get to meet him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Queen! What a fantastic
I
conversation we just
know.
had. I'm so super grateful.
Me too.
Um, let's go ahead and try to land the plane here.
Landed.
You and I can keep talking after, but the one thing to point out is we just did a little family meeting just now, and we kind of came up with different things. And I said something, and that sparked your imagination, and we went back. So it's like infinite. Like we can, you never know what your kids can say. Like if you open and set the scene for them, right? So if you had fun listening to this conversation, you're interested, you're curious, you wanna start. Even I like what you said, is like just start getting the emails, start getting the conversation card, and just like read them by yourself for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then maybe later introduce it to your family, right? So what we created, out of all of this experimenting and then doing the work, we did our Sunday night dinner challenge with our parent cohort. And so we created a very short, digestible conversation card with the value of the week, the thought of the week. And then it has conversation starter questions based on age. So there's like an elementary age set of questions and then a high school age set of questions. And then, of course, directions for the parent to model, when to go first, when to let the kid go, and things like that. And you can save it to your camera roll, you can print it, you can put it on the fridge. Again, everything to make it as easy as possible to have these truly life changing conversations and build these channels of communication and connection with your children. So, if you're interested in checking that out, seeing what that looks like, learning more about that, you can go to humanvaluescollective.org, and all of that and other resources are available for you.
Do it.
Angela, thank you. Do it.
Do
Thank
it.
you so
So
much again for
good.
being on the episode with us. Do you have any last words you would like to share with the teachers, the parents, and the students in our community?
Just the last thing that you were saying there, I was like, you know what? Make it playful. Like if you're trying to be
Mm,
serious and edgy with it, then it's not going to land. Do a voice,
mm,
just something, or ask your kids to, but just keep at it. You know, take a deep breath, try again.
yes,
Don't give up. Keep trying to open that door for
yes,
yourself, for your family, however it
mm,
works for you. But
yes. And we're here to support you always.
yes, exactly. Thank you
Beautiful.
so much. I am so grateful to you, proud of you. So like beyond grateful for this gift of these values. And I just sign up, do the thing, get involved. It's not hard. I know it feels like one more thing. It's not. It will change everything.
Mm, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
Okay.
so much. You're
Yes.
great. I
Love you.
receive it. And
You
we're here to create more love in this world and create courageous hearts in 1 million children. That's our goal. And let's do it together. Yeah.
I'm linking arms, buddy.
Arms across America. All
Yeah.
right. Let's end today's episode by saying, you've made today an amazing day just by you being you. There's no one like you in the whole world. And I like you. And just the way you are. Until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.